Hello, everyone. This is Minister Isaac Wilson Jr. coming to you again with another video. Uh, we have 4th of July coming up soon to come up, and I just want to talk a little bit today with you on touch a little bit on racism, and also a little bit on the violence that's sometimes associated with racism sometimes, and just a food for thought question: are we really free? Are we free today? Are we really free? Just ask yourself that. And if you're not, you need to find out. We need to find out why we're not free as we are approaching this Independence Day, which is on the 4th of July. It's been said, that if you really want to hide something from us as black people, you just put it in books. Because a lot of information, we don't read. Some of us don't read or research or do anything. So a lot of our knowledge and information is in the books, but we just choose not to read. So one of the things I wanted to just do a little research of some things that I've researched today and found out that was kind of interesting, historically speaking, was about in regard to the Emancipation Proclamation, which was issued by President Lincoln on September the 22nd, 1862. It took a civil war to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution to formally outlaw slavery in the U.S. It took 2.5 years after Lincoln signed the proclamation were the last slaves freed when Governor Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and issued General Order Number 3. So annually on June the 19th, in more than 200 cities in the U.S., they have made June. It's called Juneteenth, spelled June, TEENTH, a legal holiday. Juneteenth, a legal holiday. The state of Texas and Oklahoma are the only two states that made Juneteenth a legal holiday. As blacks, we all celebrate the 4th of July in honor of American Independence Day. But history reminds us that blacks were still enslaved when the U.S. obtained its independence. So Juneteenth is celebrated, as it symbolizes the end of slavery for African Americans, which was the last slaves that were freed in the state of Texas. On the 4th of July, it symbolizes for all Americans freedom on the 4th of July. But it honors Juneteenth. It was celebrated because it honors our ancestors who survived the inhumane institution of slavery in America. And that was, slavery was finally ended, and the slaves were freed. The last slaves were free in Texas on June 19, 1865. Okay, so if you do your research and do some history on that, that was what's going on. That's a little bit of history for you right there in regard to the Independence Day and Emancipation Proclamation, as far as us with independence. Okay, and I want to touch on another thing. In regard to the violence, it's sad in regards to the violence in our world, in our city and states these days, specifically as it relates to our young people, our youth. And for me to specifically talk about my young black, young group individuals, our young black folks face so much scrutiny and around the world, and they are stereotyped at every opportunity, and it's a lot of pressure on them, and and some not having a solid family structure or good supporting staff or not staff but a supporting foundation or support group at home. They fall prey, and some just fall prey and fall by the wayside and just become statistics, and and develop low self-esteem, and become and turn into the criminal lifestyle that society anticipates. And so without a proper family support, a lot of our young people, they conform to the street life and the things that's going on out here in the streets. So the streets are raising a lot of our young people. Okay, and so they got parents. They got some of our young people out here who have parents that are battling addiction. So some of these young people are really raising themselves and supporting themselves, and they don't have a good support group. And so our youngsters, they're no match for the street life and the things, that are out here. They don't have the experience or the devil. It's the devil's arena. It's a lot of things a lot of traps that the devil has placed and put in people's path to destroy these our young individuals, which is our future. And so, without proper survival skills and education, many today, they grow up into the adult life and and their lives have been destroyed, by living in the street. A lot of homelessness and just have, became a product of the environment. Number one, low self-esteem is the beginning stages of the destruction and manipulation. Satan tells us that the only way that we'll be respected is by being violent. So a lot of our young people have taken on, and that's all you hear and see on TV a lot is a bunch of violence and killing and so forth. And it's online, Facebook, and a lot of social media. You see a lot of kids on there. All they doing is fighting. They doing a whole lot of fighting, and they videotaping, and it's like done as a sport. And we need to pray for our young people because there's a lot of influences that they are under. They are our history. They are not our history, but they are our future. They are our future. And so, a lot of our young people out here, they looking for, they want to be viewed highly. They don't want to be looked down upon. They want to impress people. They want people to feel or think certain things about them. And so they go out here and conduct themselves in a manner which they feel is going to bring them what we call street cred. People go out here, they have that, they got to understand that people are going to have an opinion about you regardless. But you don't allow individuals' opinion about you to dictate or control your behavior or actions. That's one of the things that our young people today, they have not learned or have to learn. So our young folks are being murdered consistently just to try to build their self-esteem by what we call street cred, or develop or establishing a reputation about themselves. Or he's known for this, and she's known for that. Those are things that our young people seem to be thriving and pressing upon these days. You got some young, when I was coming up, I know a lot of us, we were into sports and athletics and everything, although we did do our own little things. But now that's all the young people want to do. All they want to do is smoke and drink and get high, and they don't want to be participating in anything at all. That's constructive. And they got all of this free programs for our young people to take advantage of. And when you pull up into the gas stations and the 7-Eleven, you're constantly seeing young people just asking you, "Oh, can I pump your gas?" Which is nothing wrong with you want to work for it, but you need to go to a different setting. If you could spend your time 4 or 5 hours at the gas station asking people to pump their gas, no, in my mind, I would think, I would rather be on a job getting a paycheck opposed to just standing out there and hoping and anticipating somebody will allow me the opportunity to pump their gas, which really is not that too much great results. Okay, so a lot of young people out here just to gain street cred, and our young folks, they're riding off their reputations, and they take them all the way to the grave or even into jail. And drugs and a whole lot of illicit lifestyles that it's just too much for the parents to bear. The devil knows that nobody wants to carry a reputation as a punk, a sucker, or being known as a chump. So some of our young folks are being distracted by these things. It's not knowing. Nobody don't want to be known as a nerd or smart or intelligent, but they'd rather be known as all the other negative things that's not going to gain them any not going to take them anywhere. So we're focused on things that we need to teach our young people about focus on things that have morals and values and meaning. They become mentally and spiritually trapped in the street life, because the end of it, again, is destruction. There's nothing out there in the streets. It may be fast money, and the devil will show you fast money and everything, but he doesn't show you the consequences in which you have to bear or just to get that fast money. And for some, that's all they know, unless they're tired and they no longer want any parts of it, anymore. They just fed up with their lifestyle and they want to change their lifestyle. Okay, God can set any of us free. If you desire a better way other than crime and violence, God has another way for us. You can't be a criminal. You can't make a career you can't be a career criminal. It's no health benefits in that, being a career criminal or anything else. It's like I said, the end is either destruction, death, or jail, ultimately. Okay? So some people, they get a rush out of that. People, they get a rush or a special feel about themselves behaving in various ways that's not really normal. Or some people do and say things just to be well known or popular. So this is supposed to boost their self-esteem and self-worth. That's the wrong path. So we need more male mentors stepping up and showing the young people the way. Showing them the way. Now, some of them may not want to listen, but at the end of the day, at least they know that somebody cares about them. A lot of people, our young people now, some of them feel like, nobody cares about them. People act afraid of them. So this goes for all of our youth, regardless of your ethnicity or background. This applies to all, but I was just specifically identifying for a moment with my young black folks because I was a young black teen myself at once upon a time in my life, and the plan and schemes of the devil and the big politicians who are influenced by racism, and they're so unconcerned for our young black people today, because you just see so much going on and a little bit being done, and we ask for job training, and you may, in certain instances, like I said, you can't blame all, but some are taking advantages of those job training, and there are some young people Let me say this: they are making some power moves and making some great strides in life and doing the right thing. But I'm just specifically talking about those who are struggling, who are falling by the wayside, and can't find their way, and are searching for a direction. So they're constantly building up jails. They're building up jails constantly. New jails being built up, and so they can house these guys when they get arrested or incarcerated for committing these crimes and so forth. So it does take a rocket science to figure out if you put certain people in a certain element or environment, they're going to do the next best thing to survive. So you got some of these guys that they haven't finished school, or some of them haven't graduated, and so they're going to do the next best thing, which comes natural, and that's to go selling drugs and then go to violence and crime. Okay, but that's why I say now, young people, you got to make the right choices, the right decisions. Don't wait till the last minute until it's too late and you're behind bars and you're in a situation where you can't reverse the circumstances. You got to be willing to listen to somebody also, which is the biggest thing for our young people today. Okay? But we as blacks, we can't leave. We have to have a legacy to leave behind. That's with our young people, and we have to lead. We have to lead by example. We have to lead by example. Okay, so, and our government is not. We're looking for money for our government to do this, for that, this and that, to put in our communities and to build up for our youth. They're not going to do it. If you look at what's going on around our cities, a lot of gentrification is going on. A lot of gentrification is going on. And, it's things prices are being risen so high that, only a certain income bracket or a certain level of education is going to allow you to be able to acquire certain jobs, and you have certain skills to have that kind of income to be able to survive and maintain in those areas. And so this is what gentrification is taking over, and there's no longer any more apartments no more apartments. They having condos or even townhouses. They converting apartments into condominiums, because they know if you all can't, if you're not making a certain amount of money, you're not going to be able to afford to live in those condos. So you're going to have to be forced out. Okay, so we have to prepare. We got to give back. Those of us who are fortunate and God has blessed us and privileged us to be in a position to help our young people, which there are some people that are doing it, but we need more people to step up to the plate to get in the trenches. We need more of us to get in the trenches. We need more ministries. We need more churches to get down in the trenches. We can't expect people to always come within the four walls. We got to go out into the highways and the byways and get in the trenches and pull these people out the trenches, to pull these people out from the quicksand that's constantly we see taking our young people, taking them under. We got to get out there. We have to see the bigger picture, and we have to learn how to love and to support one another, which it seems like it's so hard for us to do. We got to learn how to love and support one another, and that's just something. Like I said, I don't see being done in our communities these days. We need more community involvement, and also, I'm seeing a lot of police brutality and hearing about various acts of young guys getting shot on the news and so forth unjustly. And we wonder when it's something that we need to do something. We need to do something. I understand that, and I have respect for law enforcement, but everybody they have a job to do. You guys have a job to do, but you're not supposed to abuse your authority over people in such ways, And so I would just say what I would recommend. I would recommend that community leaders that's in predominantly African American communities, we need to start legislating for specialized units or liaisons for our African American communities around the U.S. and the major cities, because of the nature of the police brutality that's happening, and these young men being shot and killed in the street. It's so numerous. It's like it's reminding me of the times back in history when blacks were being hung up on a tree, and nothing being done about it at all. Just being hung up on this tree and nothing being done about it. And these young guys, young black men being just brutalized or just killed. And it's a rough thing to think about, that you would say, how is it that you're on American soil being killed by a law enforcement agent or a police officer unjustly? Not even over, and you didn't even go into military or over into foreign soil and fighting a war, but you over here, but there's a war going on over here on U.S. soil against us as black men. When I see all of these unjust acts and killings that the law enforcement or police, some police, there's some good, like I said, some good police as well as there's some, maybe some bad ones, and that's in everything, in every occupation, but, police, and we have to become more community, police officers need to be more community involved, meaning engaging with and building a rapport with those in the communities that they are protecting and serving. Because ultimately that's what they signed up for, and they swore in for it, is to protect and serve. So if you in serving the community, that does not involve murdering or killing or shooting people unjustly. It's just not fair, and there's nothing. It just seems like there's nothing being done about it at all, and it's just not right at all. And now I look at it in the Washington D.C. area, they have a special liaisons division in D.C. called the LGBTLU. This unit was established for hate crimes and for public safety and bias-related crimes in the DuPont Circle area, which is known as one of the predominantly LGBT communities in D.C. So, when I found out this, I was like, well, so you telling me we can't legislate to have the same units established in our black communities around the United States because of some of the crimes that are taking place in regards to our black people that are being unjustly dealt with. And for those who don't know what legislate means, it just simply means to make or enact laws, or to pass laws, or to authorize, or to authorize laws to be passed. So, just like, we must see if Congress can legislate some stronger new laws to put in place for us, so for our public safety, because it's just a shame of the senseless deaths of the young black men that has happened to our young black men, without not only this year, but even in the past 2 years, that have happened to our young black men and women who are being out here shot and killed by law enforcement unjustly. It still makes you ponder the thought and to ask yourself, are we really free? When we think about it, it's a food for thought. Are we really free? We're still out here in this day and time, 2018, having these senseless acts being committed against us as black people. And you got to ask yourself, are we really free? And a lot of time when we talk about race in America, a lot of people get offended or get touched or rubbed the wrong way. But it's something that has happened. It's something that's it's a serious problem here still in our country today after all of these years. And I'm gonna talk in the definition of racism, which I've written down here on the paper. And racism is a prejudice, a discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. So when I thought about racism, I also thought about favoritism as to which one's being the difference. In favoritism, the definition says the practice of giving unfair, preferential treatment to one person or group at the expense of another. And so, it's no race that's better than the next one. When God created all, He created all in His image, and His likeness, and that's what makes us all different. We come from different cultures. We all bleed the same color, and so. If you read in the chapter, James chapter 2, here it talks about, God talks about favoritism and how He feels about favoritism and those various things. And also I would like for you all, when you get a chance to read Ezekiel's, the first chapter of Ezekiel, also in Revelations, the first chapter, verse 15. Okay, when you get opportunity. But the question, like I said, are we free? We all need a revolution, and a revolution takes place within ourselves. Because to me, I believe racism is just a learned behavior. That's something that our parents have, or the parents pass on to their kids. Because if you put kids on the playground, all the thing they're going to see, that's just another child for them to play with. They're not going to look at, oh, that's a white child over there. Let me go play with this white child. No, they just see that's another child. Let me go over there and play with the other child and have some fun and enjoy life. And that's the difference with children. That's so innocent and so, it's not like us as adults now in our mindset and mentality. When we would develop that, we have the racism and the favoritism in our mentality, that keeps us separated in every way. So, just some food for thought that I wanted to share with you all. And God commands us all to love one another, because ultimately we got to stand before God for everything that we do, every act or deed that we do. We got to stand before God and give an account for it. And that's one thing that we ultimately need to realize. You might be thinking that you're getting away with it now, but at some point you're gonna stand before God. You're gonna be judged by God ultimately. And that's what police, those of you all sign up to protect and serve, must realize. Don't abuse your authority. You have a bigger boss who sits high and he looks low. He sees everything. He knows everything. And so for those of you who are walking in hatred, racism, or favoritism, or whatever, repent. Repent, which means to change. Change your heart, change your mind. Let God create in you a clean heart and renew a right spirit within you, that you be able to love your fellow brother or fellow man. Okay? You all take care. May God bless you and heaven smile upon you. Until we meet again, I'll talk to you later. Be blessed.